Okay, scooter tramps and chopper jockeys, it's just after 9 p.m. on the East Coast, and that means it's time for another episode of Shop Talk. I'm Chris Callen here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, coming to you live with my buddy Ken Coney in Colorado. What's up, Ken?
What is up? I figured it out, so that's
Did
good.
you?
Yeah.
Right on. If you guys were watching a little bit earlier, we're running a test to double check on our equipment, but we're good. We're up. We're ready to go. Ready to have a great show. Coming to you live from the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio. I appreciate them. If you saw on social media this week, we got a killer new backdrop for our live shows. We're going to be breaking that out in Sturgis. Probably actually break it out for next week's show a little early just to get that up. But great show coming to you tonight. We got some great guests coming at you. Bill Dodge with the BC Moto Invitational. We're going to be talking to Bill about that, about some new stuff that we're throwing down together in Sturgis. Matt and Brittany Olson. We're also in Sturgis with them for the Vintage Days at the Iron Horse, and that leads straight into their 20th Century Racing. Great event. And then the final guest of the night is going to be Austin from Twisted Roads, which is a neat new concept. Ken actually dug this up.
Yeah, it's like the Airbnb for motorcycles.
Pretty cool.
So I'm sure there's a concept for cars that I don't know about, but yeah, basically rent out your motorcycle.
So just to remind you guys, Shop Talk is a shared experience. We're not actually looking for you guys to tune in to just listen to us talk. We want you to participate also. Wherever you guys are watching us tonight through all of our social media channels, you're welcome to enter your comments. We'll bring them up from time to time. And in the meantime, when we can't, we have the lovely Heather Callen right off to my right here, and she's gonna enter your comments, questions, complaints, and
I'm going to skip the complaints.
Yeah.
I'm the only one allowed to complain on the show.
I like the complaints, too. It's real.
You like to complain? I know.
It keeps it real, baby. It keeps it real. Just like that. So already I see in the house is...
We have Darren and Mark Supley from New York Rider Magazine. And we have Philip Griffin. Mike Yorko's in the house. Congratulations, Mike Yorko. On your new land speed record in Maine. Way to go. That's awesome.
Don't congratulate Mike Yorko on he's setting the record higher and higher and further. Like I don't even have a chance at this point, man.
Baby,
I don't
we
even
all
have
know
a
you're
chance.
just going to have fun. Come on now.
I know,
real.
but I can pretend I'm in the race.
Oh, you're going to just talk the talk. Rob Bidos is in the house. Rob, we can't wait to see you in Sturgis too. Let's see, Missy and Joe Smith and Brenda and Ryan and
Rich
everybody's
Petoniak.
here. Rich
Yeah.
Petoniak.
So, man, and the one thing that you can do that's most important for the future of Shop Talk, keeping us live and keeping us strong every week, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is just go up and hit the share button and make sure you have your notifications set so that when we go live, you come live with us.
Yes, indeed. That helps. I'm trying to share, and it's not working, so I'm going to just give up at this point.
Did you try to share it from my page?
Yeah, well, I try. It's just not letting me message people and let them know.
Oh.
So I can't send them the link. So I don't know. Maybe, Heather, maybe you can just get, like, copy and paste the link and then send it to, like, Russ Brown and Buffalo Chip and those sorts of people.
No, it's
I can do
the
that.
hardest thing about doing
Thank you.
this show week after week is keeping up with the changes, because not only does our software platform change every week, or at least every other week, Facebook changes every couple weeks, like, and getting those companies to talk together and make sure that everybody's software is compatible. That's the biggest pain in the ass in this whole deal.
Indeed, it is. Oh, and trying to do 5 things at once,
Right.
like you do. So
what do you got this week? Are we going to go right into it?
Well, we were in Gettysburg. We were in the same place again.
Oh, how about it?
Can you imagine that?
How about it?
And yeah, there was a world record set there.
Listen, okay, so I have to cop to this right away. Anybody who saw the promo, yes, we did overnight build 14 walls. Tom Kiefer did crash through all of them, but I would say only 4 of them were actually burning by the time he came through. It turns out not even gasoline makes just regular wood burn in a decent manner for a stunt like this. I found out after the fact, like, as soon as Kiefer went through the last board, Jack Shit came up and he said, you know, 'cause I what they do on those stunts is they put burlap sacks on the backs of the walls, and that's what makes the fire. And I'm like, you son of a bitch, you couldn't have come up.
That would have been
right.
helpful
I mean,
to
we
know.
were there for 24 hours building that
I
thing.
don't know. Yeah, we probably should have talked to Brian Gates too, considering he was like a motorcycle stunt man. And hindsight's 2020 at this point. But
Was he there?
no, he wasn't. No, he was. He actually had messaged me and said he was going to be there Sunday, but he was on a job somewhere through Saturday. So.
But man, regardless, I got to tell you something. Tom Kiefer has my utmost respect after that, because my man came from 100 yards back in the vendor area when he hit the concrete.
He was flying.
Yeah, he was hauling ass, man, and he never let off.
What did he think was going to happen?
I think he just wanted to make sure that he got all the way through.
And he did. I got to tell you guys. So Kiefer, about board number 10, about wall number 10, Kiefer started leaning to the right hardcore. He said every time he hit a different set of the walls, his handlebar would cock back and forth. So he's rocking the whole time. And about board number or wall number 10, he started leaning to the right real bad. Dude, he stayed on the throttle. And by the time he hit wall number 14, he ate shit world-class style. But he made sure, I don't know if he hung his feet out or what he did, but he crushed it. Crushed it.
Yeah, it was pretty epic for sure.
Right.
Yep. It was pretty epic. That's
Good
for
time.
sure. But that was a great weekend, biggest crowds they've had thus far. Yeah, just craziness. So
Yes, sir.
good times,
So we got a great show coming up, but you guys that are used to seeing us here every week, we do 120 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit, and we usually like that thing to start off with a little bit we call the news. First up in the news, and can you believe it? It's an article about the electric motorcycle revolution. This one coming in from the Powersports Network, and looks like the Harley-Davidson Livewire being carried by 150 U.S. Harley-Davidson dealerships. They just had their launch for the Livewire, and they're getting ready to heat things up with that. But the interesting thing that I want to bring up right off the rip, Ken, is that's 150 U.S. Harley-Davidson dealerships out of 700.
Yeah. And then
go.
There's another 100 overseas, it looks like. It says 250 total.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many they have overseas. Yeah, I mean, it's not, I don't think, see, when I was talking to a dealer who shall remain nameless, and they were saying that Harley was actually saying which dealerships were a priority and which were not. And so I think, this would be my guess, is they never planned on selling a ton of them. I don't know.
And I would imagine, I don't know which
$30,000?
150 dealers they're in, but I would have to imagine that they're all near cities.
Yes.
Like
that
New
would
York,
be,
Boston, New York, Denver,
that's
LA.
what I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard as well. So the thing that is cool about it is that DC charge that it has, because there's no other bike out there that has it. And we may or may not ride and review that bike. I'm kind of going back and forth about that.
Yeah.
But that fast charge, it gets it to 100% in an hour. It gets it to 80% in 40 minutes, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Compared to a lot of other places.
The other day when we talked about that, about who's actually doing what with the electric motorcycle, they definitely, as far as setting themselves apart with any kind of premium feature, they've definitely done that with the battery and charge time, and it'll be interesting, man. It'll be
5-year
interesting.
warranty on the battery.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that people were really worried about. So I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I haven't ridden one. I sat on one. And it was,
Was it comfy?
Comfy is probably not the right word. It's acceptable. The riding position is pretty neutral. It's not like you're not on a crotch rocket, but it's certainly not something that you would want to go and do, 19 hours straight on. And you couldn't anyways.
Missy's coming in from Facebook, and she said, I saw the demo in Laconia. It looks kind of neat. I'm sure some people will like it. It seemed to have torque.
Oh, dude, the torque is crazy. It's 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
0 to 105. Like it's real fast. And it's got a cool sound to it. So I hate to tell people to go look at some of the reviews that are out there, but Dan Neal did a video on the Wall Street Journal, and it kind of goes through some of the stuff.
Right
He's clearly not riding the bike. There's some like stunt level
Stunt
riding the
rider.
bike. Yeah.
All right, so next up in the news, also from the Powersports Business Network, dealership to host rider training event with 5 motorcycle organizations. Now, this is kind of neat, man, because, you've heard about dealerships hosting learn to ride programs, but a California BMW motorcycle dealership is actually bringing in 5 different organizations, and from what it looks like, they have Advanced Rider Training, California Superbike School, Moto Ventures, Rawhide Adventures, Westside Motorcycle Academy. It looks like what their goal here is to provide a level of training for every skill set.
Yeah, for sure. The thing that's disappointing to me about that, no kids training, right? And
Yeah.
BMW doesn't offer a kid's motorcycle, so that makes sense to me. But it doesn't make sense to me because you and I and Heather have all talked and agreed till we're blue in the face that, the youngsters out there are the future of our industry.
Absolutely.
And we got to get them on bikes. And, yes, what they're doing with Strider, I think is great. That's a great first step. But there's got to be another step in the chain. They're not just going to go riding a Strider to riding a bicycle to riding. I mean, I guess a lot of people do, but I think the more we can get them on 2 wheels, the better.
Yep.
And that's where electric technology really comes in, right?
So
if you're interested in that,
Jeff Craig commented on here that he would like a live wire, and I'm curious as to what about the live wire appeals to him. So Jeff, why do you want a live wire?
Yep. Now, see, in that same box of comments, Damon Woodruff is actually on tonight, or Drew Woodford, excuse me. The battery on my DeWalt cordless turned to junk in 2 years. Replacements are so expensive; it's cheaper to buy a new drill. Yeah, I could see the worry because you can guarantee the electric motor or electric battery on that thing is going to be ridiculous expensive, right? I mean, that's got to be a good portion of the overall cost.
They said that it is going to be a consumable part, so something that you're going to be able to buy at the dealership. They haven't said what that price is, but they did say that it's got a 5-year warranty on it. So
no. Well, so back to the rider education program. That's Long Beach BMW Motorcycles. If you're interested in that, you can hit them up on their website or their social media.
It's this weekend,
to get
2
more
days.
information. Yeah, that's going down on the 20th, right?
Yep.
Right on, 10 to 2. Check them out.
Chris Summer Simmons says it's too quiet for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the motorcycle.
Yes.
Yeah. It's got an interesting sound to it for sure. It sounds like I don't know. It's like it's got this very weird like wind up to it.
Yeah,
So.
David Campbell said, especially if you ride it a lot and have to charge it a lot, because at least that's experience that we have with other electronic components is the more you charge them, the more it beats the hell out of the battery.
Sure.
Let's see. Rich Petoniak says, my shovel head will still be running 40 years after they stop making the live wire. But in all fairness, Rich, I've had a shovel head for a long time too. You may replace the motor on that shovel head as much as people replace the batteries in these electric bikes. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. I shouldn't say that to him because he's a damn motor builder, so his probably lasts longer.
Chris says she's have to use a clothespin and playing cards on the wheel.
That's great. That's great. So also up in the news, let's get back to that for a minute. Also from the Electric Motorcycle Revolution, Curtis unveils the latest Hades electric motorcycle design and its distinctive...
Pee-pee?
Well, Ken said it looks like a vibrator.
No, you said that. Ken said it looked like a pee-pee.
But I'm leaning more towards a Dayton electric motor. But the thing here that suggests that it's phallic in nature is the $75,000 price tag that goes with it.
I just hope that phallic thing spins.
Right? So it'd be part-time salad shooter.
Wow.
But it doesn't say at all on this thing how far this thing can go or, anything else too much. It gives some torque specs. But like I said, the $75,000 thing it almost makes it into it should look like a big dick because yep. Moving on, the Veterans Charity Ride, getting ready to go off again. You guys will remember last year we had these folks on the show before Sturgis, and great organization, great work that they're doing. Ken, over to you.
So David Frey has been doing this for a long time. It looks like they got about 6 days left. They've got a great crew. They actually, so they've teamed up with Indian Motorcycles, and they've actually outfitted some bikes with sidecars. So a lot of people that aren't necessarily able to ride can still go along for the ride. It is a pretty special event. We had them along on the ride to the Quail a few years ago, and just a really great group of people.
Yeah.
Getting some real therapy from being in the wind.
Yeah, and like I said, it was a real pleasure to get to share their story last year because of the work they're doing.
Yeah, great stuff.
Darren McKeag is wondering how the new electric motorcycle will hold up in flaming burnouts. Darren is infamous for flaming burnouts, so that's a substantial question for
Darren,
him.
just a reminder that the Baker Smoke Down is on Monday the 5th at 8 p.m. at the Iron Horse.
Baker
Wink, wink,
Burnout
nudge, nudge.
Drags.
Yes, thank you.
Baker Burnout Drags. And look, I just so happen to have a little piece of artwork here I can put up. The Baker Burnout Drags coming back to Sturgis. Yeah.
Just, shameless plug.
Nice. What day is that?
Monday night during our industry party.
Awesome. That's
So
going to be great.
We're also going to be using our brand new full-size Christmas tree for that. Just like if you guys have been to the Baker Burnout Drags or seen them before, the deal is you get the tires smoking, first one to get through all the gears is the winner. It's always a good time. We're fully expecting Patrick Garvin to show up in his gorilla suit. It would not be an event without him.
Joe Smith just put up a sad face. I want to know why Joe Smith isn't coming to Sturgis.
Yeah.
That's curious.
So I suppose we should get on to our first guest tonight.
Yeah, we are almost there. Basically, we're
Are
like
we
3
on
minutes
time?
away from it. Yeah, weird.
Oh my God.
So Ken, you and I both have known our first guest for quite a while. When was the first time you met Bill?
Oh gosh, I don't know, but I know that my first impression of him wasn't great. And people's first impression of me is typically not great either. So, but we hit it off. From what I remember. But the best thing about Bill was that I went down and did a podcast with him and forgot to hit record.
No.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We were 45 minutes in and he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" It's like, "No, I'm not."
Danger Dan did that to Chris. And
Yeah, it
I
was
thought
pretty
Danger Dan was going to have a stroke.
Yeah.
Chris was
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's all good.
We just started over. It's good, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we did too.
All right, well, let's go to the phones and see if we can get Mr. Dodge live.
Some
Hello.
Bill, how you doing, man? You're live on Shop Talk.
Hey, man, what's happening?
Dude, you were
Hello,
happening.
everybody.
You were happening, brother.
What do you got going on here?
So we want to talk to you about the BC Moto Invitational, first of all, because the list is ridiculous this year. The list is off the hook.
Yeah, great list, great people, man. I'm very honored that these guys said yes and are coming. Some of the stuff they're bringing is pretty amazing.
You know, man, I was talking to a cat about you, a mutual friend, and I'll leave out who it was or anything the other day. And I've just been working on your article, but in case you guys don't know, one of Bill's bikes is coming out as the cover of next month's magazine. You'll want to see that.
I'm stoked on that.
I was talking about you, and I was like, I can firmly say that when nuclear holocaust goes down and people are searching through the rubble for food and everything else, Bill Dodge will still be building custom motorcycles. He will still be turning around to a 70-year-old machine that breaks every third time that he goes to use it, or fix the machine and still build a custom part by hand for somebody's motorcycle.
Yeah, or their house or whatever. At that point.
That's why, like, more than anything else, I think this show is so appropriate, and so appropriate that guys are lining up to say yes to you to be to your invitational, because they know they're not just showing up for a promoter. They're showing up for somebody that's looking to glorify the craft.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not looking for a self-promotion thing. It's all about the builder and people getting to meet him and hang out with him and talk to him and learn what differently than the rest of us. We're all different and we all do things different. And people need to be able to see that and come and talk to the
you've
guys
been
and
there.
feel good.
I mean, you were there, Bill, right? I mean, that was that you know what that's like, right?
Well, yeah, there's so many different ways to do things, and I've been doing it for quite a long time. Luckily, thankfully, to my friends and customers, people that support me. But just to see, so many times you go to a show and it's all about that promoter's, door and all that. This is all about all of us having a good time and showing off what we got. And like I said, people getting to meet us and see the differences between all of us builders and all the different things we do. There's a lot to be said for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, the guys are, I say guys now because I just haven't found the right girl to them, but I'm telling you, it's unbelievable the amount of talent that's in this crew. If I could have 100 listings to give, I would. I would invite 100 people if I could. But as of yet, we can't afford that.
Well, and it's pretty awesome because the whole thing is centered around, the Tennessee Motorcycle and Music Revival. Beautiful, beautiful property. Anybody that's ever done any AMA district racing, the Loretta Lynn's Ranch is the host of this event, the same place where the AMA Amateur National Champions go on every year. So
you don't win there, you don't.
Right? But I mean, dude, like the riding, incredible, the scenery, like even if you just want to hang out at the spot,
it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And family also, is big part of it. It's not like your average bike rally that you don't want to bring your kids to. This is all about the children as well. There's different areas to hang out. So in the evening times, the family gets off to a quiet place and still have the good time, everyone. But it's all around an amazing event. I mean, Lynn family, Buck and Carrie, all of us, Rat, everybody doing it together. Beaner is a big part of the beginning of this. And it just continues on. It's a pretty amazing family event. Now you guys are completely involved. That makes me feel even better. It's just
absolutely.
It's all about family and all about the guys really, really showing off their craft and having a good time at it. There's no competition between them. There's no crap. So you'll see builders hanging out with each other that maybe you would never get to see that normally at a normal show. They're all going different directions, and here they're all just chilling, and we'll do rides with everyone, and just all kinds of good stuff.
Well, let's step back to how kind of the inception of it. I mean, did you think, I want to know kind of the story of, or the conversation that happened, that made it happen in the first place. But also, did you think it would be this successful? I mean, it's been there since the beginning, right?
Well, I hope so. To tell you the truth, I hope so. I mean, Buck and Carrie, actually Carrie started this and grabbed a hold of Buck.
Hang on, Bill. You're a little bit away from the phone. There you go.
All right. Is that better?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it really started off with Carrie and her ties with the family, and wanting to do a real different. And she contacted Buck, and she contacted myself, and she said, "Bill, you can bring the right people to have a good time." And between the bunch of us, we just kind of winged it. And the first year was only 3 months to get ready for the show. Like, we decided, and then we wants to invite everyone to get everything going. And to tell you the truth, I got hit by the storm right before that first year.
Oh,
Like,
my God,
right,
I know.
I mean, 34, and we're afraid things were falling. But to tell you the truth, every person, every builder, every customer that came knocking on the door to buy a ticket, just really made that vibe happen. That first year, I believe the first year is what made it all happen. I mean, it's like you could talk about that forever. We had been thinking about things like this forever.
Yeah.
But that first bunch of people, with the combination of the us all up in Florida and just everything going on at the same time and short time limit, and everyone just showed up, and it set the vibe for this whole thing. What it's building into, what it has been since the first moment, and it's all about family and taking care of each other and hanging out and just really finding a way to relax together. And I think it's done that already.
Well, you got a ton of people chiming in from social media, man. Rich Petoniak, Bill builds badass bikes. Magoo is on here. Best guy in the business from Johnny 99 Customs.
Oh man.
Even like Chris Summer Simmons says, I may try to build something when I retire from Cannonball. I got ideas. Bill, you are inspiring.
Tom
Oh
Kiefer,
man.
Tom
It's
Kiefer,
good
Bill
stuff.
has a major influence on his builds. I mean, like you have
Oh,
a little fan club going on, Mr. Dodge.
well, you know what? I think it's all of us. We all just have the same hearts. It's not necessarily me. I think it's all of us have the same heart, and it's real easy to jive together when you're feeling like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so honored to be part of this and to actually finally get to invite all my friends to a cool gig, and to show the people what these guys do. These guys are amazing. Every single one of them are amazing, and just to see the different stuff, like you included,
Oh.
you guys come with a little different perspective. You watch how everybody else has done it, and you have your own vibe to yours, and everyone has their own, and that's what's neat. There's no two bikes alike in that stable. There's not two of the same builders, but we all seem to get along well.
And you know what, man? What's funny about that is, like, it seems like forever ago now we started something to celebrate that attitude and immortalize it a little bit, and that was all the way back at the beginning of the Limp Nicky lot.
Yeah.
Which Limp Nicky lot was great. It was buck wild and entirely dangerous and wildly inappropriate at times.
Yeah.
But it was a celebration, man. When you walked from the lot to the other, it was exactly what you're saying. Like, there was, everybody's take on everything was different, but somehow it all worked together, and we were all
all jive.
Yeah. We were in it together. But now, and I want to lead into this a little bit, we're getting ready to roll out the next era that like kind of Limp Nicky lot all growed up, starting in Sturgis this year.
Yep, and it's gonna be awesome, dude. Because there's no competition. Again, there's no competition. It's all fun and friends.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's where you get the best turnout, I believe. People want to hang out with you if you're all getting along and having fun together and showing off what you do.
Yeah.
I hope Limp Nicky lot isn't reincarnated too much.
No.
We're grown up.
I don't think.
Well, that was the whole point. It's not going to be that.
I know. Real quick, Joe Fratis, he's our friend from Motion Pro, but Bill, I also know he's a friend of yours. He's got a message on here. Much love and respect for Bill. I'm honored to call him a friend. Even more honored to have one of his bikes. One of the first conversations I had with Joe was about how he had one of your motorcycles.
So thrilled.
He's a good
He's a good one, man. Thank you, Joe. if you're listening.
Buck Shaw was on with us. Kurt Green being in the industry for as long as Bill. What does he think about the young upcoming builders and what they're turning out?
Are you talking to Buck or me?
You.
That was a
I'm
message from
sorry.
Kurt Green.
That was from Kurt Green.
What do I think about the upcoming builders? Oh, well, shit, I'm bringing them in as fast as I can because I watch the talent, the fire that they have, it just reminds me of when I was, all of us were young. These new guys, man, they're on fire to do the best they can to absolutely kill it. And I noticed that they're liking to ride their bikes. Some of the other crowds. That's making me feel real good because, as you guys all know, that I'm a guy that wants to ride the bike as soon as I get it done. I want to go to a show on it. I want to go someplace far on it. And
you're not
it's really
kidding.
good to see these. I like my bikes. But yeah, to answer your question, I think the new guys are killing it. Absolutely killing it. They're pushing us older guys to work harder. That's what they're doing. Fuckers.
Wait a minute. We're not young anymore?
Well, I don't know about you. Everybody's doing this face thing on Instagram, trying to make themselves look older. Dude, I'm already there. They can quit that now.
Yeah, I don't need that app.
Yeah,
I need an app to show me what I looked like 20 years ago, for shit's sake.
So,
exactly.
Bill, what's the one bike that you've built that you've never wanted to part with?
Oh, I think I know the answer to this one.
Well, there's a bunch of them, but probably one of the hardest ones was John Green's bike. Yeah, that was the hardest one to get rid of. I mean, most of the rest of them, I thought at some point I might be able to get them back when I was selling them, which I haven't yet, but that doesn't mean nothing. But the E-Grid, I know it's gone, and it's in another country now, and that one bothers me. But I had a little silent talk with it when I was in Paris a week or so ago.
I saw pictures, and I was like, dude, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's a cool bike. Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time, bro. That was really fun.
Tell us about Paris for a minute, man, because not everybody gets to do that.
Yeah, well, Paris was a very small part of it. Basically, fly into Paris and then road around about half of France this time. In 3 weeks, my friends just pretty much picked me up just outside of Paris with the bikes, and we go and we ride, visit all our friends and do bike shows. I did Chopper Fest there, which is a friend of mine, Boo. He has his own bike show up there. It's kind of private kind of show. You kind of got to be invited, and it's really awesome. And that's up in Lorraine, France, and then we'll go more south to a show called Punta Bagna, which is up on top of the Alps. So we ride up there and judge a killer bike show there. It's kind of a show that's there is in Punta Bagna. All the guys bring their sketchy choppers, guys and girls bring their sketchy choppers that they built throughout the year, and they bring them into this little corral to kind of get an idea of who's in the show. And then on Saturday, every person that has a bike in that corral, which is all brand new, that shouldn't be started, or if they've been started just once and never ridden, just finished motorcycles, they all get on them and we have to ride to the top of the Alps.
Right on.
Nice.
Yeah, like super sketchy. I mean, it's 2,800 meters, so that's pretty much about 8,000 feet or so. And there's no guardrails. There's hairpins everywhere hanging off the edges of the mountains, and snow on the sides, and just everyone has to ride their bike all the way to the top of that mountain, get their picture taken, and ride back. And the ones that make it back, then we'll judge them and decide the winner from there.
That's it, baby.
Wow.
That's how it should.
That's so great.
I'm pretty
That's
sure.
that's like the lone. That's like your guys' show, the In Motion show, but to another whole nother level.
Yeah.
It's
we don't have
pretty
the Alps.
crazy. And I would judge it like that. The same idea. Because don't get me wrong, you're not going to the top of the Alps at In Motion, but you just got to drive through Galveston, bro. It's just about as bad,
So,
but these guys and girls, man, they absolutely kill it. And, the best bike will win. And do 30 over, 35 over choppers with no front brakes and jockey shifts and ride them up the top of this mountain. It's no big deal. So they're worth judging.
Right on.
I'm pretty sure I heard Bill mumble that he needs me to go and be his personal photographer.
But, you got one trip to Europe for being the personal photographer.
Oh,
you could
please.
forget about that.
Yeah.
All right, so I need to carry his bags or something. I don't know.
Yeah. You can carry my bag because it's usually heavy.
There we go.
T-shirts and stuff when I go there. But it's pretty awesome. That whole trip is, we pretty much, like I said, we get out of the plane and go down the road a little ways, get the bikes, and pretty much on a bike from then on. I don't bring any big bags or anything. Matt from 40 Cal went with me this time. We both went for a while. He didn't stay as long as me, but man, it was really, really good to hang out with him. I mean, we live a couple states away from each other and didn't realize what a cool guy he was, man. He's a cool dude.
Right on.
Yeah, some serious good times there.
So check it out. The thing that we're talking about for Sturgis, the Limp Nicky Lot all growed up, is
we can quit saying that word.
All Limp Nicky Lot, yeah, because it brings in a little bit of terror to Heather's heart. But we're calling this new thing the hand built lot. And, handmade. I'm sorry, hand built.
The handmade lot.
The handmade lot. It's going to be a collection of builders and craftsmen, and we're actually doing your Teeny Weeny Tuesday event is going to be there.
Oh yeah, it's going to be good too. Come one, come all, come get some hot dogs.
And I think we're doing a Thursday night custom bike show in honor of the Boogie East show. It's going to be the same kind of deal. So it's
it's a real vintage chopper show. So unfortunately, none of us twin cam guys can bring a bike.
Pre what? Pre 80.
I would say at least pre-80, at least. Probably before that. Yeah, pre-80 is good. Yeah, because we got to keep that real. That's a really fun little show.
Yeah,
and we have to just like it is. I mean, it's a real deal vintage chopper show. Bring your real choppers out there,
and we're gonna call it the Black Hills Boogie.
Good.
We're doing it for the Texas brethren.
Yeah, that's it. We got to keep that Texas vibe right in it. Yep. So any of you guys out got them killer choppers, please bring them.
Thursday night in Sturgis. Tell everybody.
That includes you, Jeff Kelderman, with my chopper I built you a while back for InMotion.
Jeff better have that shit there.
Yeah.
Well, tell everybody where they can follow everything about BC Moto Invitational and the Tennessee Motorcycles and Music.
You can find all that on Instagram, on the TMMR Instagram and my own. There's also a website, which I'm failing you all right now because I don't know what the website is.
Motorcyclesandmusic.com, and I did post a link in the comments.
See, Heather's got our back.
Yeah, she's got our back. If you have any questions or anything, don't feel shy to DM me. Sometimes it takes me a while to get back, but don't be shy. Come to my Instagram, Blink Cycles, and I'll be happy to answer any questions or get you hooked up with the right people if anyone needs help getting there.
Right on, man. Well, listen, we appreciate you being on with us tonight. I thank you for taking the time. I know you're scrambling to get ready like we are, so thank you very much.
This is fun, bro. This is family stuff.
Right on.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you all.
All right, buddy. See you in Sturgis.
Later.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Oh, always good to talk to him.
I like Bill.
Yep.
He's a good guy.
You're right.
Yep.
He's the real deal, man.
So
and it's funny how many people we've just kind of parted ways with, right, over the years, but like the solid crew is still there.
Right? Yeah.
Right? I mean,
what a lot of people don't know is before there was a Limp Nicky Lot, the year before, it was a thing called Blacklist.
Yep.
And the Blacklist happened on the exact property that we're doing the handmade lot this year. So it's
there was some fucking yelling and screaming on that lot, man. It was brutal.
Crazy. We were building a motorcycle live. It was the first time any of us were building a motorcycle live. Nothing was right, and everybody was pissed.
And then it got given away, and the owner of the property's buddy won it. It was a weird thing, man. Moving on.
Okay, so Before we go to our next guest, we're rocking through the hour here. I want to do a little business for the show real quick. We'll be back in 2 and 2.
All right.
We're excited to roll out our new ATV and UTV tire and wheel kitting service to save you time, labor costs, and money. Our goal is to take the hard work out of custom ATV, UTV tire and wheel kitting by doing the installation work, then shipping the pre-mounted kits directly to you. And wheel kitting service is available in all 5 Tucker Distribution Center facilities. That means when you place an order, the kit will ship directly from your closest warehouse. Save your dealership time, labor costs, and money with pre-mounted tire and wheel kits from Tucker Powersports. Fit, kit, send.
What's up, guys? Jesse, your MC at the world famous Iron Horse Saloon. Remember we told you just a little while ago about the Iron Horse Saloon Road to the Rally Entertainment Series? It's time to give you your first batch of fans. You ready? We're going to kick it all off February 22nd on the indoor stage with Quaker City Nighthawks. Then we come back March 23rd with the Artisanals. Then we're going to fire up the outdoor stage for the first time of the year, May 26th with Hairball. Then prepare yourself for June 8th. Uncle Cracker's coming back. July 26th, we're going to get hot with Shooter Jennings. And don't forget, at each and every one of these shows, we'll be giving away Chrome Club passes, VIP passes. You never know. Some of these shows will be free. Some of these shows you're going to need a ticket. You can get all the details and tickets at ihsturgis.com. Check this out. You can also get tickets at Sicky's Garage in Rapid City for all the shows. It's the Road to the Rally Entertainment Series with the world famous Iron Horse Saloon. I hope you're ready.
Okay, man, Sturgis coming like a runaway train. We're getting ready. I want to remind you guys, though, between now and then, there's at least one more show, and we'll be doing one live in Sturgis. ShopTalk goes live every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go live and bring you another episode of 120 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit, courtesy of the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio, whose space we break into once a week and take this shit over to bring out a show. Appreciate them. I got to tell you, like, real quick before we go on to our next guest. So Chris Summer Simmons makes a comment here real quick. Speaking of anniversary, Pat and I met in Sturgis 30 years ago, August 7th, 1989. Dude, we got to get the two of them on this show and talk about that, because I've heard the story. You've heard the story.
It's an awesome story.
Yeah. And we
it's a great story.
We got to get them on the show one time and tell that. That's awesome.
We almost share an anniversary.
Right?
Just a day apart. That's awesome.
We almost met in Sturgis. Did we meet in Sturgis?
We did meet in Sturgis.
We did.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, and people can actually catch. We've got a Forever Two Wheels has a podcast with Chris Summer Simmons. She talks a little bit about it there. We did that probably a couple years ago. If you just go to the number Forever and then the number 2 Wheels, you can catch that podcast.
And every week you can pick up this show in podcast fashion from that website. Correct. From Forever Two Wheels, also from motoshoptalk.com. If you're coming on the show with us to be live all the time, we go out through 7 different social media channels, anything from YouTube, Twitter. We have a Twitch TV channel. So every Thursday, 9 p.m., put it on your calendars and do the share thing.
So, Lyndon Lack, I have some really great picks from the Olympic Lot days. The year with the National Guard security will never be topped.
Yeah. That's why.
We're just going to skip over. We'll skip over that one.
We're just going right on to the handmade lot. That's
the handmade lot. Where everybody has grown up.
Yeah, everybody's grown up.
Real quick before I forget, can I throw something out of left field at you? I just want to talk about the event we're doing this weekend, the little local, well, I shouldn't say little, the local event that Cycle Source is doing this weekend. Chris and I, along with Twisted Tea, have been invited out to the Jennerstown Speedway this weekend to unveil the new Twisted Tea bike that Flat Broke Chops and Rods built. and they have very kindly opened it up to bike night. Everybody on a motorcycle will gain free admittance and
VIP parking.
VIP parking. Again, for tickets, you can go to generoustown.org. Chris and I and Mark and Dana will all be there. We'll have a bunch of Twisted Tea swag. And if you're on a bike, you get in for free.
And Ken, and this is one of the things that's the best of it.
Yeah.
Is we're getting to lead the parade lap of one of the races with the new Twisted Tea Lowrider.
Nice. That's awesome.
And Chopper, if they let the Chopper on the track too. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Like, down home, it's asphalt, so it's not a dirt track, but it's down home, stock car racing, man. It's awesome shit. Good times.
Oh,
Do we get
killer.
to stay and watch the races, or do we actually have to just do the work?
You can stay and watch the races. I'm gonna come home and build a Chopper.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Mi-
Well,
for
you're
Mr. Lichter.
Yeah. Can you show them a picture of where you're
Wait,
at?
wait. No, let's go to
yes.
Lisa Ballard. She was a big part of Limp Nicky Lot too. She said that night was nuts, to say the least. But, and this brings up a good point that Lisa's on. Some of the best stuff that we did with Limp Nicky Lot was a thing that Lisa started called the Limp Nicky Lot Footprint. And we would bring out kids and have like pizza parties for local neighborhood kids. One year we did a run to the reservation. We ran to Pine Ridge and did stuff with the Boys and Girls Club there. Like that was worth all of the trouble of Limp Nicky Lot. Was the good work that we did with it too, and that was thanks to Lisa.
It was. Mike Satoski just said you could bring the Chopper out too.
Nice.
Oh, and Mitch, we have flat track racing in New Jersey on Sunday. Mitch, I've failed you. I'm so sorry.
If you haven't failed them, hit social media with it hard tomorrow.
Okay.
There you go.
I'll make it up, I promise.
Okay, so our next guest, Ken, would you do the introduction, please?
Really? So
Yes.
Matt and Brittany Olson. Carl Cycle Supply, is that right?
Yep.
Is that the answer? You're asking me to introduce somebody that I don't know that well.
Oh, you don't know that? You don't know Matt that well?
No,
So-
I don't know Matt that well.
I usually ask Ken to do these introductions because it gives me time to do all the back work to get ready for it. But I'll tell you, as I struggle through talking and looking through my phone, I met Matt and Carl a long time ago through the whole Sturgis thing, and Matt's father Carl gave me my first 7 knucklehead day. We had stopped by, and I was fortunate enough to take Russ, Kiwi Mike's son, with me. We rode up to Aberdeen, South Dakota, to his garage, and the next morning he put all of our bikes in a trailer and let us ride 7 different knuckleheads on the way to Sturgis. Like a bunch of us. Teach and Warren, Hire, and like a bunch of us were all up there. We all took turns riding different knuckleheads. Never get experience like that again in my life.
Yeah, for sure.
But even better than that was working into the late hours on all the different bikes that were going out, and Carl broke out a bottle of absinthe, and it was just like, it was such an old time bike thing that we were doing, man. It was so great. I've always been a big fan of them. So Matt marries Brittany. Brittany is doing 20th Century Racing, which has absolutely been off the hook. If you missed that in Sturgis, you're crazy. They're also going to be with us at Vintage Days, and we're going to go to the phone lines right now and see if we can't bring them on live.
Hey Chris, how are you?
Matt, how you doing, buddy? You're live on ShopTalk.
Oh, cool. We just got to our hotel in Wasion and getting loaded up, and life is pretty good. So thanks for including us. I wanted to do last Thursday, but it was too busy with getting back from England. So.
Dude, that's great. Let's start with that. Let's talk
sure.
about your trip to England and the Goodwood.
Oh, Goodwood is overwhelming. It's I didn't really know what to expect. Brittany got invited, and they invited Billy Lane and Shelley Rossmeyer, and then I got signed up and did all the physical checks and licensing stuff that you have to do to get accredited for that. But I ended up not having a chance to run because it was just so chaos with keeping everything running. And
Yeah.
but anyways, it was really cool. It's mainly a car event. There's 300 to 400 cars that are there. They have probably 50, 75 bikes, and everything. They have this area called the paddocks, and that's kind of like the pit crew, and that's where they set up the cars and the bikes and all the mechanics and owners and riders and drivers, and it's absolutely insane. So you can walk around this area and meet famous IndyCar drivers, NASCAR drivers, MotoGP people, Isle of Man guys. I mean,
Man.
And they have every type of car from open wheel Indy cars all the way to modern Formula One cars, and it's overwhelming. I don't even change oil on our cars. Like, I don't care about four-wheel vehicles, but the engineering and they're special. You're looking at them and you're like, this is amazing, but I don't really understand why. So,
Well,
but
dude,
any one of those vehicles would make an event here in the States for a weekend. Like if you're at a car show, and to see so many at once, it's just overwhelming. And then the bikes were absolutely fantastic. They had a couple Bruff Superiors. They had a Cricket back Norton, which was the first overhead cam motor that they made in 28 and 29. It was like a factory GP bike. And they had a Vincent Black Lightning, and then a Vincent Nero, which was the fastest motorcycle in the world for a few years in the 60s. And I mean, it was overwhelming. They had a modern bike there that had a turbine engine out of a helicopter, and it was so cool. So it was overwhelming. And Brittany, she performed great. Billy and Shelley, they did good. They had a lot of fun, and
yeah.
it was a whole nother planet. So.
I was glued to social media, man. Like there's not many people that do enough stuff that make me jealous and wish I was doing what you're doing. But man, really, really wish I was there in person because it looked great.
Yeah. Brittany ran so fast. It was a lot of fun. They invited us back, and they have 2 events. And I think what would be ideal would be to go and ship a bike over and just leave it there for a few months and fly in for both events. So I think we'll try that next year and get more value out of the time spent. But it was still awesome. We had a great time. So.
Well, moving up to Sturgis and more on to Brittany and the racing. So
yeah, Brittany's right here. So
obviously, Monday we do the Vintage Day.
Yeah.
And
You've been
that has
helping Dad with that, and that's been spectacular. I think there were 80 bikes there last year.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man. Like honestly, I can remember when it was first. Like Heather actually came up with the idea, hey, we should really do something for old bikes and really make a place for old bikes. And that came out of stuff like, in Florida when Rocky used to throw the party and stuff, and all the different things. Like we wanted to have that one thing go on in Sturgis, and we knew to really make it happen, having you and Carl and and bring the club together. It's been incredible. It really is. I mean, I'm just in awe to watch that thing go down. And then, this year, your dad comes up with all the old field games and stuff that we're gonna do, and it's gonna be such a treat for people to see some of that stuff. Because when you think about bike games today, you immediately say barrel race, slow race, weenie bite. But
yeah.
Some of the games that they used to do back at the old meets, man. Those are almost like a lost part of the history of this, and he's really gonna help bring it back with that.
Yeah, I haven't read the list, but he tracked down a letter that Harley sent out to their dealers for ideas on field games to do in the 50s and 60s, and it's really cool. So I'm excited. I wish I could be there. We're going to be going crazy setting up Britt's race, but
yeah. So
I know
thing,
you guys will all have a lot of fun.
That whole thing starts at 9 in the morning, and by the afternoon, we're all going to get together and actually ride over to the racetrack where the 20th Century Racing goes down in Sturgis.
Yep, exactly. And anybody that brings an old bike to the show gets free entrance into the races. and they get a free drink voucher. We have this friend of ours that helps sell drinks. It's kind of like, he's kind of like the Rain Man, but of like selling drinks. And we're going to print up things called Danny Bucks that have his face on them so they can turn them for a free drink. He's like the sweetest, nicest guy. So I'm really excited. And then all the old bikes will get a spot to park in the racetrack where they can be on display. So if you don't have old bike and want to still go see them or couldn't make it to the show in the morning, they'll be at the motorcycle races as well. So.
And that's a treat. I mean, it really is, because some of these guys even bring bikes out of the museum to be at this show and to be at the racetrack that day. So really, really rare opportunity to see some of this stuff. And the racing part of it, Brittany, tell everybody about how this came about, because this was no easy thing. Like this was a real undertaking for you to get this going in Sturgis.
Yeah, it was huge. You know, basically from going to being like a hobby antique racer and a stay-at-home mom and wife to, you know, realizing that your state's, you know, my state of South Dakota's most historical motorcycle racing and racing track, for that matter, was under this kind of like nationwide thing that was happening to racetrack to get developed, right, into something different. And the Sturgis half mile was on the chopping block, and I kept hearing stuff about like the Syracuse mile, which was another huge national historical mile track that had records dating back to like the 20s, right? And AMA is just, you know, hounding all 2015 about save the Syracuse half mile, save the Syracuse half mile. And then the city announced it in 2015 during the 75th that they did have plans of demolishing their half mile, rebuilding it out by the high school, and building a housing development where the half mile is now. And, you know, you think of that, and the guys who, I mean, they literally, like, they made their lives, their careers, their racing careers. They cut their teeth on that half mile, watched friends die on the half mile there. You know, and they saw the rise and the decline of it all, you know. So when I won in 2015 on the last day of the AMA sanctioned races on my 23 Harley in the board track class, you know, the announcer, Scotty Dubler, said, "How does it feel to be one of the one of the last champions of the historical Sturgis half mile?" And like, I just cried. Like, I got really emotional because I did not know it was like that. I thought that maybe the city just didn't want to, you know, continue contracts, or, you know, I didn't quite know what the deal with the city was until like it was apparent right then there at that 75th rally. And so we really had to work together with, you know, with Bruce Ivey and Mark Marshall, and formed the Spirit of Sturgis. And, you know, we decided that if given 1 year, we would at least honor the history that 1 year. So really, we went from, you know, from having, you know, it was like we had maybe like 6-7 weeks that very first year to organize all of it. And that first year, the Wall Street Journal covered it. The second year, Travel Channel covered it. And then from there, it was just, I mean, it got, you know, every year we did something different or we changed it. And, you know, the second year we had it during the rally. That was incredible, but it was also so frightening because, yeah, you know, like I said, like I went from being a stay-at-home mom, you know, new wife, you know, race a couple times a year and go to the antique meets with my family, to now, you know, it's like, wow, you're like, I'm really putting my name, my family, my life on the line to save this half mile, or at least honor the history and all of the racers and promoters and people who worked and camped and, I mean, volunteered, everything, you know, and that's where the rally first spawned out of, was this half mile. So that energy, like the same energy that people talk about when you go to Bonneville, when you go to that Daytona Beach, you know, it's that knowing, I think that's knowing how many national champion legends cut their teeth on this track, loved this track, bought this track, you know, had crashed on this track, right?
So
And
Brittany, where's it at now? Where's the track at now? I mean, did you guys save it?
Yeah, it's the same place that's always kind of been. This is where it gets really complicated. So, like now the city, because it's city owned, right? The city's been amazing in the fact that they've continued to allow us. This year was unopposed, which was amazing because the first year we had some opposition. Second year, this year was completely unopposed. The city is in favor of it. However, because the city of Sturgis has had so sorry, my son is peeing on a tree.
Good man. Good man.
Nice job.
So because it's an old facility, it's an old grandstand, and the Sturgis, the community of Sturgis this year has been hit with massive amounts of rainfall. You guys are going to have most beautiful rally this year. The grass is so green and the trees are so green and it is so moist and very like lush. The mosquitoes are heavy, so like let this be a precursor. Everybody bring your bug spray, because I was like out there and I was out working the track. I was out working the track, just walking around, getting a feel for what we're gonna have to do, where how we're gonna stage and set everything up. And I had hundreds of mosquito bites. And I'm like, this is just not common out here, because on that side of the state, it's always dry. It's not very wet. And the mosquitoes don't thrive like how they do where we are. We're used to that up in Aberdeen, South Dakota. But in Sturgis, I was not expecting that. So that's a precursor. Everybody bring your bug spray.
Well, I think too, like more than just, you speak of the national champions and the history of the racers and the people that were there, but I think also what this represents is almost saving the soul of rallies. Like you see the stuff going on with Roland Sands and the hooligan racing and what AFT's doing again. And I mean, the motorcycle rally starts and ends with the celebration of the motorcycle culture altogether. But racing and hill climbing and like that's such, and it has always been such an integral part of this, that like we really, really need, somebody like you to go on the line to protect that part of this history.
Yeah, and I did not know that I was going to have this huge undertaking, like you said. Like, I remember just being Betty Bicycle and nobody really knowing what my name is, and just being this happy-go-lucky, girl. And then when I started racing motorcycles, I realized that somebody had to preserve this history, right? So when we started 20th Century Racing, it was to really make the information, the adventure, like doing this antique motorcycle racing more on a social platform like Instagram and Facebook, and making it more like available for, seeing what we're doing, right? Mm-hmm. But to be like where we are now, it is so cool, because on so many different levels, whether it's hooligans, the antiques, American flat track,
Sons of Speed,
America, Sons of Speed. Yeah, seeing all of this and like its rise or its comeback, I feel like it's really like kicked a spirit within motorcycling, and especially right where it needed it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah, definitely.
You've definitely done a huge service to the spirit of it, and I mean that's perfect, right? That's the spirit of Sturgis.
Yeah, for Spirit of Sturgis, like this would really not at all be possible if it wasn't for like Brian Clock and Bruce Idy. So Brian, he heard about what we were doing with this 38 Indian for the 75th, and it being part of the naked show at Michael Lichter's exhibit, and us taking it out and racing it, and the reason why we named it Spirit of Sturgis is because it's 38. It was a total tribute bike to Pappy and to the first years of racing, right? Because we're 20th century. Of course, we're going to do a race bike. And that's when Brian said, you need to connect with Bruce Idy. And so he got us connected, and we talked, and I just remember being so nervous and so shy. And when I had this presentation folder, and it was basically explaining what we were doing with 20th Century Racing and how, as like a first of right, I wanted to present a sponsorship, like an exclusive sponsorship package to the Indian dealership, since this would be like a Sturgis bike, right? Mm-hmm. And on the front of this folder, and like my gold handwriting is like a gold ink pen, right? I wrote "The Spirit of Sturgis" featuring Brittany Olsen and Jim Wall of 20th Century Racing. And Bruce goes, it is the first meeting face to face. He goes, that's funny. How did you come up with this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, if he likes my handwriting, I can't wait until he sees my full presentation with all the colors and artwork. I did it there. And I was like, and then he goes, this is so funny because I started trademarking this very same name 6 weeks ago, and I seriously was like, I shot myself in the foot. Like, why did I ever think Spirit of Sturgis? That's so lame. And it was so relieving, right? When he was like, no, this is really good. This is actually this is exactly what we're being motivated, like the history side of Sturgis, right?
Absolutely.
And Bruce
That's so
is
great.
amazing, with his involvement at the Indian Motorcycle Sturgis and the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum and just, I mean, being an amazing person who loves, not only motorcycle racing, but sports car racing, and for the state of South Dakota, he's just very passionate about preserving history as well. So that, at the end of the rally of the 75th, to make this come full circle, he is the one who asked and said, Brittany and Matt, do you think maybe we need to have a vintage festival or something? Because he was very moved by Barber Vintage Festival. So isn't it interesting how little things like that really move and motivate certain people to take action, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty
so
serendipitous for sure.
Yeah. I mean, almost like it was supposed to happen, or it was just how it all fell into a line like that. It was like a divine thing, where it's like, all right, here's the problem, fixed it.
So how can people kind of find out more about 20th Century Racing, Spirit of Sturgis, all that? We've got another person we need to get on, but we want to make sure that the information gets out there so people can go and watch the races and get tickets and follow along.
Oh, absolutely. So our tickets are for sale on Eventbrite, but you can also purchase them on Main Street during the week of the rally. There's 2 shops. And then you can also go to spiritofsturgis.com and follow us on Instagram at Spirit of Sturgis. And the same is with 20th Century Racing, 20thcenturyracing.com and at 20th Century Racing. At 20th Century Racing on Instagram is going to be your best way to follow me because I am constantly doing stories. So you'll always see stories on there. Sometimes I'll do hard posts, but it's been so busy for us lately that stories are the easiest and fastest way for me to share what we're doing.
Awesome.
I want to know what can people do? Is there anything both in the state of South Dakota and anyone outside of the state of South Dakota to help you in your efforts to keep the track alive and keep the bulldozers at bay?
Yeah, so I think the very best thing is if you are in Sturgis during the rally, come to the Spirit of Sturgis. This year, because of all the water, the grandstands they're really getting old and aging, and the sewage pipes below bursted. So I really want to put together a fundraiser to really help the city get that fixed and make plans for the future too, and really to show the city of Sturgis that there's a community out here, and that if we get a crowd together, we can fund something to get it at least fixed, or future plans down the road to get a new infrastructure built. But
Absolutely.
but yeah, definitely come to the event. That's the best. Come to the event or purchase a.
Yes, absolutely. And this is something like really consider, all the parties, all the concerts, everything that's going on. Just your presence at this place. Just being there is going to go a long way towards you're making a personal effort to preserve and part of the history that made this thing that we do all over the country even possible. So take some time out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if there's one thing too that I could definitely share is, man, we have a huge growing hooligan racing population. And one thing that we absolutely love is having the hooligan racers come out to the Spirit of Sturgis. We have a $3,000 cash purse, and the top 13 riders get paid, and we got 12 that go to the main. So even if you're the last qualifier and you don't make it to the main, you still leave with a little bit of something. Last year we had $2,500, but we boosted it up to $500 this year. because there's the X Games that's going on the day before the Spirit of Sturgis. So we wanted to show the racers coming to Sturgis that Sturgis loves all racers. So.
Right on. Well, listen, Matt and Brittany, two of my favorite people on the planet. Thank you so much for taking time out today. I know between events and you know, your little guy there, like, you're going crazy as much as we are. So thank you for taking this time, and we will definitely see you at the Spirit of Sturgis.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
But personally, I just got to say thank you to Chris for really motivating me to even get into motorcycles in the first place, and for publishing Matt Wachsler's articles, and and that just really got me hooked on motorcycles. So
you're awesome, and for the work that you're doing, with this thing specifically, I'm going to nominate you this year for Woman of the Year in our year in review, because this is really a proud thing to see you really grab a hold of this thing and make it what you have.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That means the world to me.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys in Sturgis.
We'll see you guys in Sturgis. Bring your bug spray.
All right,
Bye,
later
guys.
on. She's great,
Right
man.
on.
She's great.
That was great.
And she says that all the time about how I inspire her, and look at what she's become. She's had such an incredible life over the last 5 or 6 years, man. The things that she's done, she's
kind of crazy, right?
She's making me want to do better. Yeah. Blondie, what do you got over there?
Let's see. Lisa Ballard, Matt and Britt rule. Keep up the great work. Chris Summer Simmons says, Britt, you're a rock star. Cheryl Daggett O'Brien, can I ask a question, or is there going to be a run to line? We're not working this year. Yes, there is. Stay tuned, everybody. That's all coming out.
Actually, we can go through that in like 2 minutes here.
Okay.
So, to answer your question about run to the line, yes, there will actually be one, but we're going to do something different. Every few years, we take a little different approach to this. So the run to the line will be a ride through Van Auker Canyon this year. We're going to go up to the Nemo Guest Ranch, come back to the Iron Horse for Pirowitz's paint show, and have some lunch at Iron Horse. We're going to follow that up with bike games on Friday at the Iron Horse. So Friday, we're going to separate it into 2 different events. We're actually going to do a ton of bike games, but here's the deal. $200 cash prize for each game. So slow race, keg roll, spoon race, the waitress, and weenie bite, $200 a piece, and then there'll be a grand prize rodeo champion belt for the overall winner of the day. And get ready, mini bike drag races.
Yeah.
$200 first prize. You can either bring your own mini bike, or you can ride one of ours.
Like maybe the guy with the alcohol fueled, like with the jump starter.
I have to tell you, Asian Dan reached out about our bike show.
Yeah.
So while I was sending him the flyer, I sent him all of our flyers. And of course, I included the mini bike drag race. He's like, man, you had to send me that. He says, now I'm going to have to put my chopper and my mini bike in my truck and drive. I was going to ride, but now I'm bringing the mini bike.
I love you, Dan. I love you.
Nice.
So lots of stuff going on for us in Sturgis, man. Obviously we talked about the Vintage Day and our bike show. Our bike show on Sunday, 25 classes, and we give away the Paco roller. They're actually working on finishing it up right now, and it's going to be a far out 70s chopper roller. So you want to get in on that. There's no cost for the show. Tons of prizes from all our sponsors. And that goes down on Sunday, August 4th, 10 a.m. You can start signing up for the bike show.
Awesome. Very good.
So with
cool. Our next guest.
Yeah.
Shall we roll on?
Go ahead, baby. Go ahead.
We are. We're gonna have Austin on from Twisted Roads. It's Austin Rothbard, I believe. Or Twisted Road, I should say. And it is basically like kind of an Airbnb for motorcycles. So you can go and rent somebody's personal motorcycle. It's got a map, so you can see if there's anybody near you. It's a really great way to waste time and see what kind of cool motorcycles are around you to rent and how much they are. It's pretty fun. So I'm excited to talk to him about how he got this going and just see where he's at with it.
Let's see if we can get Austin on the line.
Awesome. Thanks.
there?
Hey,
Morning,
Austin,
Ken.
you're live with
Hey, Austin.
ShopTalk.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
man.
Good. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks for being patient.
Yeah, no
We've had a
problem. No
We've had a
problem.
couple of guests that really like to talk, and we really like to listen to what they have to say. So
I get it. Hey, I just saw a little bit about you guys talking. Ken, you said you've wasted a bunch of time on our site already.
yeah.
Did you actually use the word wasted a bunch of time?
Well,
Yeah,
no.
It's because you just
It's
start you just
addictive.
start clicking on all the
It's
different
addictive,
prices. You're
yeah.
like, how much is a $175 bike? Oh, whoa!
Right.
I would maybe
right.
rent that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A Triumph
Yeah.
Speed Triple for $69 a day? That sounds like fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, it's been great.
Where did this idea come from, man? And how do you even go about, like starting to get people interested and sharing time with their motorcycle?
Well, let's go back. I've spent years in corporate America. I was an executive, and I was really pretty miserable. And so I was just looking for like the right way to get out of it. I started riding pretty recently. I've only been riding for about 4 years. And after I started riding, about a year after, I was out at like some of the national parks in Utah. And all I kept saying is, man, I wish I had my bike. And I kept saying those 6 words like over and over every place we went, whether it was Zion or Bryce or Grand Canyon. And I realized there was a major issue. So basically, I just did a little bit of research. To your question, how do you get people to part with their motorcycles? Most people won't. So we did a pretty extensive survey and found that only about 10% of riders would allow others to ride their bike. But there's enough bikes in the country to make it work, even if it's 10% or 1%. So we went live about a year and a half ago.
And you went from 0 bikes to 1,600, it looks like.
Yeah. We get about 100 new bikes a month.
Wow.
I've run companies from. I've been really fortunate in my career, but I've never run anything that doesn't have a single sale coming through. So when I started this, it was really nerve-wracking, but we got our first rental within 24 hours.
No
Oh,
kidding.
wow.
Yeah. And if you play around with our site, you'll notice we've got bikes in every state. We've got a ton of make and models. We have some vintage bikes sitting up in Guilford, Connecticut. If you want to see some beautiful bikes, Guilford, Connecticut, there's a woman there who restores vintage bikes. We've got about 3 or 4 old bikes there. So there's some gems across the site, and we take care of everything from logistics to making sure that the rider is legit, has an endorsement, insurance, credit card processing. We do it all.
And it looks like you're all over the world, actually. I just did a little zoom out, and I was like, wow, look at that.
We're all over the U.S. So there's a bike or two you'll see in Europe, which is just a test bike we have out there for testing.
Okay.
We have a bunch of bikes that come in. We have some in Colombia and Portugal and Argentina and Australia. We just don't approve them yet. We're not ready to flip the switch outside of the U.S. yet. We want to make sure that we have all the kinks ironed out before we start going international.
Sure, that makes sense.
Really, really incredible. Like as you're talking, I'm scrolling through the site, and it seems like you make it really easy.
Well, we try to walk you through every step of the process, and the easier it is, the more likely you'll either get on someone else's bike or put your bike on the site. The owner gets 70% of the rental rate. So if you see a bike for $100, the owner gets 70 of it, and the owner is also in full control. So when a request comes in. Let's say you've got a Goldwing on the site and a request comes in. You as the owner, you get to review the request, including the rider's experience, and you can decide whether or not you're comfortable having him on your bike based on his experience. So if he's got 6 months on a Sportster and he wants to rent your Goldwing, you just decline it.
Yeah.
That's actually
And then
really cool. I had no idea about that part.
How does insurance work?
So every bike is protected by our commercial insurance policy. riders get to choose if they want to buy. We offer a short-term rental policy as well. It's like $40 a day, and it covers all riders up to $25,000 in damages and $300,000 in liability.
Okay.
Right on.
And before the ride starts, there's a walk around. It's just like, if you rent a car from Enterprise, you do a walk around and make sure there's no damages. You do the same thing. But with us, what you do is you take pictures right through our website, and they get uploaded to the site. So we can look at it and say, oh, well, Ken's bike went out. Here's what it looked like before. And when the bike comes back, you do one more walk around. We rarely get issues, but whenever there's an issue, we document it and we pay out.
That's actually amazing.
Is there? Go ahead, Chris.
No, it wasn't me.
Oh, I was just asking. So, are there bikes that you don't approve? I mean, has somebody tried to put a 14-foot long jockey shift kick only chopper on there?
Yeah. So, well, we haven't gotten any jockey shifts up listed on the site yet. We have a few choppers. We just approve them. We actually, where we draw the line is more around, we don't allow dirt bikes, we don't allow trikes or three-wheel bikes, and we don't allow scooters. But a lot of that is because we're a motorcycle first company, and we don't have a lot of experience. We don't have a lot of resources right now with people or money to split up our focus. So we just focus on marketing to the moto community for now.
Right on.
That's great. That makes a lot of sense. What do you think in terms of percentage-wise, American bikes versus like European / imports in terms of rental?
Well, it's a good question. I'd say that the U.S. bikes are probably between 20 and maybe about 20% of what's rented, and then everything else is the remaining 80. But you'll see people who you'll see. Typically what happens is when people are traveling, they want something like their bike that they have at home. So we'll see people go down to MotoGP, and they'll rent a Ducati from us so they can go to the Ducati, entryway to the thing. And so, but for last year in Milwaukee at Harley's 115th anniversary, we were sold out of bikes, and people would list their bike up on a Wednesday before that weekend, and by Wednesday night or Thursday, it would be rented out. So we were all out of Harleys for that weekend.
That's cool.
I really dig the diversity, man, from going through it just now. There really is everything. There's adventure bikes. There's over the road motorcycles. There's some Harley stuff. Sport bikes, there's you could ride any kind of motorcycle you want. Do you have any superstars? Like, do you have one that's like, every time this bike's listed, it's rented?
There's a bike that's on there. We have a couple of bikes that get a ton of traction. We have a Ducati. If you type in on the site, if you go to West Hollywood, you'll see Ducati Scrambler. Scramblers do really well in LA. People want a lane split and have something nimble. In Denver, we've got some Triumph Tigers that are always out. We've got a BMW R9T in I think it's in Denver, that's priced really aggressively. And then we also get as people list bigger touring Harleys, they get some good traction for week-long rentals. There's a 2018 Road King in Long Beach. It was priced at $100 a day, and it was getting a lot of action. She might have increased the price a little.
Yeah, and how do you find your prices in terms of, if somebody went to Eagle Rider, let's say, and rented a bike compared to what you guys do?
Well, it's a good question. All the prices are set by the owner. So you could have someone who thinks that their bike is worth $300, and if you compare that bike to Eagle Rider, it'll be more expensive. Then you have someone else who might price it at $100.
Sure.
On average, we're 30 to 50% less expensive than Eagle Rider, bike to bike. They have a lot of benefits to their program. They own all their own inventory. So because of that, they're maintaining the bikes. They have records of maintenance. We don't have that yet. But on the flip side, we're a little bit more variety, and we're a little bit more convenient.
Yeah, I would actually think that this would give you a huge advantage. You know, it would be a more daunting proposition to carry that enough inventory to have this kind of diversity, this kind of, you know, the region to region. Like, I think this would give you a huge advantage, this model.
Oh,
Yeah, well, you're right. And so if you go back and look over at like motorcycle rental companies over the past few years, they come and they go. You'll see someone who puts a bunch of bikes up. They start a rental operation in, you know, I don't know where, in San Diego, and then 2 years later they shut it down. And the reason is because the insurance expense is so high, holding onto those bikes and paying for the inventory is high, that they have to have extremely high utilization on those bikes in order to make it work. But the benefit we have is we don't need to have the utilization. We can spread the insurance costs. It's hot. Our insurance is really high for us, but we could spread it across more bikes. So if we get 10 bikes and they never get rented, we're not paying insurance on those bikes, and we're also not making monthly payments on them.
so I see 2 bikes on here, Chris,
Yeah.
that we should rent for 2 separate occasions. There's a 68 Honda CB50 in Illinois that we need to rent for Motoblot next year.
Yeah, baby.
And then there's a 1947 Indian Chief that we need to rent just to shut Kiwi up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that red one, that's outside of Chicago, 2
Right.
hours, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's
Right
good
on.
stuff.
That's got like, you know, that's got like non-standard shifter, like the throttles, you know, everything's on the opposite side before standardization of controls.
Yeah, which makes it fun. I had a 47 just like that actually. So
Yeah.
So what do you see the kind of the future of Twisted Road? The reason that I ask you, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but we hear, you know, constantly, we're obviously a media company, right? We sell media. We've got a print magazine, but then we've also got this show where we reach anywhere between 20 and 100,000 people. We've got, you know, a bazillion things, and all we constantly what we hear from companies is that they're doing kind of non-endemic advertising, but all you're interested in are motorcycle riders, right?
Endemic,
Like that's
yeah.
who you advertise to, right?
Right now, it's all we do. You know, we have 4 pieces to our marketing strategy. We do a ton of advertising on Facebook and on Google, and then we go to a bunch of events. We haven't been at Motoblot yet. We've had some conflicts, but we're out at like the One Moto Show and Mama Tried. And,
Oh, right on.
and then the third thing is we're pretty aggressive with PR, and the fourth we have a bunch of corporate and individual partnerships. Like we have a partnership with Cycle Gear right now where there's 5 locations in Southern California that act as remote pickup drop-off for us if the owner's not available to pick up to meet the rider.
That's great. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, and the part of this that makes the most amount of sense too is the support within the community. Just like, you know, as you can imagine, like a lot of people that get into the Airbnb stuff, that's helping them make that payment all the time. You know what I mean? So people that have a single extra property that they're trying to manage or multiple extra properties, this helps them manage the cost that goes along with that. And it'll be the same thing with the motorcycle. If that motorcycle's just sitting there.
Right. And I mean, if they rent it out 2 days a week, that could be their payment for the month.
Absolutely.
Or 2 days a month, rather. I mean,
Here's what I try to explain. Like some people are totally on the fence with it, and I get it. Like my house is not on Airbnb, so I'm never going to try to convince anybody to put any of the property on our site because I understand the resistance. But if you're on the fence, there's no risk to putting the bike on. Let's say you put your bike on and it never gets rented. You're no worse off than you are right now. But if you get a few rentals and you decide to accept them, it could make an insurance payment. You could buy some tools or some parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People it's hard to buy parts sometimes for your bike if your partner, spending all that money is easier if you're getting some income from rentals.
I completely get it. Like we're fortunate enough that we have several motorcycles.
Yeah.
And
understatement of the year.
But like we have a touring bike. We have an Ultra Classic that we have not been on in 2 years. That literally just sits in our garage.
Right.
Chris, you got to ride choppers all the time.
Well, you don't have to ride choppers all the time, but it's fun, man. Riding choppers is fun.
But so I could totally see how, every now and then rent now that a pick covers the insurance, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's cool. Neat concept.
And when someone puts their first bike on our site, we give them $25 to go use as a renter. It just builds the community.
There you go. That makes a lot of sense. So do you see this as an opportunity to, are you planning on just building this and then selling it? Or is this something that you see like this is kind of your future?
Well, I've been asked that a few times, and honestly, like I am having a lot of fun, and there's a lot of potential for growth. And I've been in a career before that I wasn't too happy in. So the fact that I'm enjoying what I'm doing every day, I've got a lot of passion for it. So right now my eyes are literally set on being a bigger part of the moto community, growing this thing so that we're a little bit more well known and being used more often than we are now. I'm not, it's a whole different model if you're out to sell it.
Yeah,
it's not the focus of mine right now. Yeah.
Agreed. Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you having us on, or we really appreciate you coming on.
Wow. My pleasure, Ken.
And can you just tell people where they can check you out?
Yeah, of course. If you're on Instagram, go to @TwistedRoad or go to twistedroad.com. And the cool thing about our Instagram is just about every single picture that we post is all from our users. They send a ton of pictures of them having fun on our bikes, and we just repost them. So you can see a lot of what's going on there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, we really appreciate you coming on, and we wish you the best for sure. Maybe we'll run into you in Sturgis or one of these rallies someday.
Absolutely.
Sounds great. So I look forward to it. Okay, thanks everyone.
All right, thanks
a lot,
Austin.
You got it. Bye.
So I'm down
Cool
for renting
concept.
the Indian. I'm excited about that.
Well, one thing I think that's cool is there's a lot of newer motorcycles, and what a great way to decide if you want to make that purchase or not.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, as opposed to going to the dealer and only being able to ride it around the block, take the bike out for a day or two.
Yeah.
See if you really want to make that investment. I think it's a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so again, I want to remind you guys, this is Shop Talk coming to you live every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, through the courtesy of the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio. We bring you 120 minutes, all the bullshit we can fit, news, information, some interviews, a couple cool product videos, and anything we can get our grubby little mitts on.
That's right.
If you dig it, hit the share button. Make sure you set up your alerts. We're going to take 2 minutes here and then come back real quick and wrap up the show with the last tidbits of news. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you.
The Palace City Pre-Sturgis Party is back. Clockworks has teamed up once again with the City of Mitchell and the Corn Palace to bring fun back downtown. Join us Thursday, August 1st, 5 to 10 p.m. Cole Freeman will be back attempting another amazing stunt. Listen to live music from Shelby Lee Lowe and local favorite Dustin Evans. The team at Clockworks is teamed up with clothing sensation Dixie Flannel and will be debuting the exclusive Clockworks Flannel colorway at the Pre-Sturgis Party. Fun for all ages, motorcyclists or not. Whether it's the people, the music, the food, or the camaraderie that draws you to the heart of Mitchell, South Dakota, don't you dare miss this year's Palace City Pre-Sturgis Party.
Are you ready for the best 9 nights of your life?
It's gonna be a
Ron Woodruff presents Keith Urban, Toby Keith, Disturbed, Snoop Dogg, Godsmack Sticks, Full Beat, George Thorogood, D. Snyder, Fury of the Dead Man, Collective Soul, Poppy Roll, Zach Sabbath, Skid Row, and more. Plus 9 days of extreme racing action. August 2nd through the 11th. Get passes now. The Sturgis Buffalo Chip. Presented by Geico Motorcycle Insurance. It's the best party anywhere.
Okay, Heather, so we got John Bugkiller Baker asking, how's Landmine?
Speed bump.
Landmine, speed bump.
Oh, he's doing good. He's a little pain
Bastard.
in the tuchus.
He did
Nugget.
He did his first event with us.
Yes,
we
he
took him to
did.
Gettysburg, man. He had his first public appearance.
He was good. I feel bad for Nugget, though. Nugget, I think, is getting the short end of the deal.
All right, so real quick, man, we're going to
Does
go
Nugget
through.
get yelled at a lot for beating up on
No,
growling
well,
and stuff?
No, he's a vicious little bastard. Like he'll like latch onto her jowls and just hang there.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I can't believe Nugget hasn't ripped his
And
face
he has
off
those
yet.
little tiny sharp puppy teeth.
Oh, yeah. those
So
puppy
he
teeth
bites
are
the
brutal.
shit out of her, man.
But then like
Yeah.
you'll turn around and they'll be curled up sleeping together.
Yeah.
And then they're wrestling and trying to rip each other's throat out. And then they're curled up sleeping next to each other. So
So a couple events to go over real quick. Coming up August 17th, Let the Good Times Roll right around the corner. Tom Kiefer has his York Bike Week event coming up. Fuel's going to be playing there. $30 tickets. Check them out online. Before we even know it, Fuel Cleveland, July 27th. You do not want to miss this event if you're not a loser like us who are going to miss this year.
because we're going to be at Mountain Fest doing a bike show
We are going to be at Mountain Fest.
where hopefully maybe we'll even catch Peter Frampton.
Really?
Yeah, he's playing. I would go see Peter Frampton.
How the hell are you going to go to Mountain Fest and make it to Sturgis?
We are.
Well,
We actually have our bike show at Mountain Fest and 15th annual Mountain Fest. We've been to almost every single one of them. 6 days, 14 hours, 15 minutes, 28 seconds. Peter Frampton, Cheap Trick, Charlie Daniels, Jasmine Kane's going to be in the house. Tons of good stuff. Tons of
Awesome.
good stuff going on, and we'll be there also. So
Nice.
so
Jasmine, if she's drinking, must remain at least 10 steps away from me at all times. Just saying.
Heather's a little nervous at Suck Bank Blow because Jasmine took her heart over the table. So, real quick, one piece of motorcycle news from this week that I definitely want to get back to is this really cool story. 97-year-old motorcycle racing legend reunites with his bike for the last time. Let's check this out real quick, and we're going to talk about it.
It's the sizzling summer sales
Oh, you bastard. I hate it. See? Now we're not going to check that out. Now we're just going to talk about the story. So this out of Bittendorf, Iowa, Iowa Masonic Health Facilities, Monday morning, you would find a silver truck pulling into the parking lot. Inside that truck sits the racing bike of 1950s motorcycle racing legend. It's called the Big Bass Scallop, and only 50 of them were ever made, says Bob Skeffington, one of the men who hauled it in. The bike belongs to 97-year-old Bill Tooman, who resides at the Masonic Nursing Home and deals with dementia. Tooman comments he can't remember anything. His short-term memory is shrinking, but he can always recall his racing glory days when he rode his Indian motorcycle along with the Indian Wrecking Crew. That was back in the 50s, and Truman hasn't seen his own bike in almost 20 years, but that all changed Monday morning. Super, super cool thing that they're doing. His name is the serial number of the bike. Skeffington
Isn't that
comments,
cool?
Isn't that cool? Etched into the engine. It's the only bike in the world that he knows of. The bike after this will be shipped back to Australia, where it will be stored forever. That is awesome.
That is so badass.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, in grand fashion, we're going to ride this train out the way we came in. A little late, but great show. Appreciate everybody being here with us. We're going to go one more time and check out the comment feed. Heather has a bunch of links up there for you guys to follow us. Thanks for being here with us and sharing your headspace and your time. We do not take it lightly. Thanks for the support for ShopTalk. And is that it? What do you got?
I think that's it. I think we have to go build a shopper.
Ken?
Let us know what you want to hear about, who you want to have on, all that stuff.
Yeah, we would love
Post
some
in the comments.
suggestions on guests that you would like to talk to.
Ken got us a cool guest lined up for next week,
I'm
right?
very excited
Go ahead.
because I really dig his music.
You want to make the announcement, or you want Ken to do it?
No, she can do it for sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because
Heather.
Ken doesn't know who he is. So I'm super excited. We invited Jamie Johnson out to come on the show with us next week, and he gladly accepted. He's going to be playing at the Iron Horse on Monday, August 5th. He's a great country musician. I've been a longtime fan of his, and he's going to be on the show next week at 9:15 with us. So if you dig Jamie Johnson, tune in.
We've got a tight 15. He's got a tight 15 minutes. That's it.
Hey, that's awesome. I'm shocked he accepted the invitation, so that's great.
Actually, Ken, Heather can get it done in 2, but
I
she
don't
can
get
use
it.
the other 13 minutes.
Christopher Lewis.
Thanks again to the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys for letting us have the studio space for tonight. And I guess until next week, we're going to be riding this train out. Same chopper time.
Same chopper
channel.
channel.
All right, man. Until then, be nice to each other. We'll see those of you that can make it in Sturgis.
All right.